G'day guys, and welcome back to another Fixit Fingers Quick Fix. Today, hanging blinds. Well, in my case, re-hanging blinds, because we just got new windows put in and I've had to move the brackets. We're going to show you the tools that you need to get these things up. Now, there are going to be a few different styles. I've got some simple block-out blinds here, verticals, Venetians. The brackets are all going to look different, but you're pretty much going to have the same problems taking them down or getting them up, and I'll try and cover off a few of those today. I've done about 30 of these things over the past few days, so I thought I'd better share how to do it with you. Let's get started. Alrighty, so let's look at the equipment that you're going to need. A stepladder of some description will be very helpful. Your PPE, eyes, ears, and breath. You don't need an impact driver. A screwdriver will do, but if you got one, use it. I'm going into bricks, so I need plugs and some nice flat-headed screws. If you're going into wood, your life will be easier with the regular old wood screws. Panhead is still good. A screwdriver, as we said, a marking awl, a hammer will be handy. Your good old blue tape and a pencil for marking, and a drill. Hammer drill with a masonry bit if you are like me going into the hard stuff. That little tray, we'll see what it's for in a second. Sexy leather tool belt is optional, but it makes you look like you know what you're doing. Firstly, remove anything and everything around that is going to get in your way, such as curtains and paraphernalia. Right, brackets come in many shapes and sizes, but these ones are pretty standard. You're going to have a fixed end in my left hand, and you're going to have a clickable end or a movable end, which is in my right hand. The fixed end is usually going to be attached to the end that you have your pull cord. Mine just dangles free, but that may also screw into the wall. The important thing is that that cap at the top should be north or in the upwards orientation so that it doesn't interfere with the operation of the blind. We'll install that one first, and then here's the movable end, kind of like a toilet roll holder. That one is going to use that channel and click into position. You'll also notice that my brackets were bent to fit the old wooden frames. I had to squeeze those in a vise to bring them back to 90 degrees. Such as they are now. Hopefully that won't be an issue for you. Okay, going sideways here is usually the easiest thing to maintain correct spacing. Quickly put your bracket up and use a pencil to mark your wall. Then grab an awl and give it a few light taps to basically register where your drill wants to go in, particularly into your brick. You want to be accurate with your holes. I've got a whole video on how to drill into brick if you're a bit unconfident. I'll put a link up above. Don't forget your PPE, and definitely do not forget your dust tray. Even if you're just going through a little bit of plaster, then into a stud, making up a little tray just out of paper or plastic, like I've got out of the recycling here, is very handy for catching that dust. If you are going onto hammer mode, then before you drill your pilot hole, firstly, get the length of the plug marked out with blue tape and ensure your drill is switched onto regular drill mode just to start off the holes. Again, this is a lot more accurate and will stop the hammer mode from wandering. If you're going through plaster into a stud, then you can just stay on that mode and drill the appropriate size pilot hole all the way in. This 4-cutter masonry bit is fantastic, makes fairly light work of the standard red house bricks. And you'll notice I'm going on a little bit of an upwards angle here. That doesn't matter too much. These plugs are going to be really strong to hold these blinds. Quick bit of cleanup. Grab your standard greenies and tap them on in with a hammer. A little trick if you can't get them all the way in or you're trying not to damage your paint, screwdriver into the end, as long as it's a big one, should help you seat those properly. Start the 2 screws off with your fingers. As I said, using the panhead or washer head is usually best here. You don't want your typical wood screws. It'll help hold it flat to the wall. And if you are using that driver, don't drill them all the way in. You could strip it out a little bit, finish them off with a hand screwdriver until they're nicely seated. Then pop over to the other side of the wall and repeat. Just be aware it doesn't really matter which orientation the blinds go in. So what you're going to be doing is choosing which side you want your string to be on, which will be the fixed end, and for us here on the right side of the window. Alright, now the first moment of truth. On many of the blinds that I've reinstalled recently, because they've come off a wooden frame and onto an aluminium frame, that spacing was now no good. Let's see if I've been lucky on this one or not. Most important thing, keep the plastic shield directly to the top when you orientate the fixed side, and then we'll click in the movable side. Nice. So I got really lucky there, and it's fit back perfectly from where it was previously mounted. However, I've been doing these for the whole building, and I found on a lot of occasions that they were now a bit too small because the new windows were aluminium, which were thin, and the old ones were wood, which were wide. So what I had to do, here's one of my practice ones, make up some wooden brackets, put them in, paint them white, and put them behind the mounts there to make those mounts refit. So don't worry, all is not lost if your window has changed dimensions slightly. A better option is use some white acrylic. I just happen to have that lying around. Better material perhaps and easier than the timber. Or of course you can screw upwards. Just be aware that windows are usually going to have a steel lintel in the vertical direction, and it is very difficult to freehand drill. I had to do a couple. It is not a pleasurable experience. So go sideways into a stud or into the brick where you can. Better check these out though before I start raving to make sure they actually bloody work. Well, it's probably gone all dark and I can see that they're filthy and need a clean, but at least they're up. I hope you found that useful. If you get any questions, you've got a slightly different style of blind, hit me up, I'll see if I can help you out. Fixit Fingers out, I'll catch you on the next one.